G'day, and welcome to ComicsMATE, your mate in comics from the land down under. I'm Dean James, and today we're going to be talking about the media coping and seething over the failure of Marvel's The Fantastic Four. Yes, I knew it, you knew it, everyone knew it was going to bomb. Everyone except, of course, the mainstream media shills who cry bigotry every time something Disney makes flops. They seriously need to get some new material at this point. Nobody cares about their commie talking points and buzzwords anymore. Cancel culture's dead. It's time for the pendulum to swing back. Far back. But before we get into all of this, please like this video to help push it out into the algorithm, and subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Now let's jump right into this article. From Bleeding Fool. Access Media's rollercoaster from denial to acceptance over MCU's Fantastic Four failure. I don't actually think they've accepted it yet. They're still trying to dodge the actual reasons and denying the real problems when it comes to these failures, but we'll get into that in a second, you'll see. The corporate media's reaction to the disappointing box office performance of the latest Fantastic Four film follows what some are describing as the 5 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and finally, acceptance. This pattern not only reflects the film's commercial struggles, but also highlights Hollywood's difficulty in facing its own mistakes and reconnecting with audiences. See, right here, the real issue is that Hollywood doesn't actually believe that they've made any mistakes, and they think that the mistakes are being made by the audience. They blame you, and they blame me. They blame all of us for not liking the slop that they've been putting on our plates. They are nowhere near reaching the last stage of acceptance, and that much is obvious whenever you see any of them in interviews or on the red carpet, anything like that. As long as they're able to maintain this cuddle puddle of a social circle with these champagne socialists, they're never going to actually admit any of their own faults. It's easier for them to just blame all of you and claim that they are perfect, because they live in their own little bubble, remember? Hollywood is very much an in-group. It's more who you know than what you know, and they're a very tightly knit group that won't allow any dissenting opinions into that inner circle. They've made it pretty clear that they hate you, and honestly, I don't give a fuck if they hate me. I hate them just as much. Bunch of cum-guzzling faggots prancing around in dresses pretending that they're better than the rest of us. It honestly makes me sick. Oh shit, sorry, we went a bit off topic there, didn't we? Let's get back to the news. The initial media response leans heavily on denial, using optimistic headlines that celebrate the film's opening weekend despite it earning only $216 million worldwide, while costing more than $300 million to produce. This optimistic spin acts as a way to avoid the reality of underwhelming ticket sales right out of the gate. Calling it underwhelming is the understatement of the century. Even still, you have bots on X claiming it's a massive success, calling people incels or racist for not liking Pedro Pascal, or the absolutely retarded decision to gender swap the Silver Surfer. We all tried to warn Marvel that they were making a mistake and that this movie would bomb the second the casting was announced and it featured everyone's favourite astroturfed son of a socialist dictator, Pedro Pascal. Then it only got worse with all the creepy shit Pedro and Vanessa were doing in interviews. Seriously, she's a married woman and here she is making her husband into the world's most public cuck. But Dean, Pedro Pascal suffers from anxiety. That's why he needed to be all over Vanessa. Nice try, strawman I just made up. If that was the case, why doesn't he ever suffer anxiety around his male co-workers? Or with that ugly potato that he films The Last of Us with? It must be nice only getting anxiety when you're around beautiful women. Shit, I think I suffer from that too. Quick, Sydney Sweeney, show us them titties. It's for my anxiety. Not to mention all the dumb shit the others kept saying, but the media celebrated all of that. Now here we are in the future with everybody in the audience shaking their heads telling Disney we told you so. Again. Just like with the Marvels and the Eternals before that. As the film's earnings dropped sharply by 66% in its second weekend, the media shifted to anger, placing some blame on the audience's tastes and questioning why the movie failed to capture the public interest. Critics pointed to the success of other films like the recent Jurassic Park reboot as a source of frustration, emphasizing a gap between studio efforts and what moviegoers actually want. Of course there's a complete disconnect. As I mentioned earlier, Hollywood is stuck in its own little leftist bubble that not even the rest of America agrees with, let alone the rest of the world. But speaking of Jurassic Park, I find it so ironic that Hollywood is so out of touch that the entire premise behind the Jurassic World movies is that people got sick of dinosaurs and want something different. Yet all of those movies make bank because people in the real world genuinely love dinosaurs and just want them to stop with the ridiculous crossbreed monster shit and go back to just dinosaurs. If that doesn't explain the whole problem with Hollywood, I don't know what does. The bargaining phase appears through media discussions that try to find a positive angle, suggesting that despite its financial struggles, Fantastic Four set up important narrative elements for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Some argue the introduction of iconic characters like Doctor Doom and the cosmic storyline might pay off in the long run, even if the movie itself failed to stand out.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
Next comes the depression stage, where media coverage grows somber. The focus turns to the sharp box office drops and the looming challenges facing Marvel as the franchise struggles to maintain its audience's enthusiasm. Well, all that enthusiasm died when the MCU became the MCU. Everybody knows that. Many outlets discuss the emotional and financial impact of this decline, noting that even well-known brands like Marvel can suffer setbacks. Setbacks that are a total mystery as to why they happened and weren't completely self-inflicted at all. No, never. At last is acceptance, when the media begins to admit the deeper problems. The Fantastic Four characters have historically struggled to connect with audiences, and this film's performance is consistent with that trend. Analysts acknowledge that studios and creatives must take responsibility for marketing and storytelling choices. The notion that the audience alone is at fault gives way to a call for the industry to better understand its viewers and adapt accordingly. They won't though. They've had every opportunity to at this point. Between the massive never-ending list of bomb after bomb, social media being full of fans complaining about casting choices, direction, not to mention YouTubers' entire careers being built off the failure of things like Star Wars or the MCU. If they were going to learn this lesson, they would have learnt it a long time ago. Now we're all just sitting around watching the fire burn. One key issue revealed through this analysis is a clear mismatch between Hollywood's views and the actual preferences of moviegoers. Well, I for one am shocked, I tell you, that parents don't want to take their kid to a movie that has a gay sex scene or a trans kid. Why wouldn't lifelong comic fans want to see their favourite characters butchered on the big screen? Or bastardized versions of their favourite movies now rebooted for the modern audience? It's baffling. It's shocking, honestly. I don't know who could have seen this coming. The marketing campaign, which emphasized themes like family and empowerment, failed to attract its intended core demographic. Data showed only 17% of viewers were families, compared to 31% of comparable superhero films, such as Superman. Superman was just a better movie. Check out my review that nobody got to see because Warner Brothers copyright struck the thing, just to remove the strike 3 weeks later. Additionally, the audience skewed heavily male, with nearly 70% of ticket buyers being men, showing a disconnect in targeting a broader group. Well, that's always been the case. Even with movies like The Marvels, the main paying ticket audience were men, and then they complained and blamed men when the movie bombed. You can't win with these people. The media's role in shaping the perception of Fantastic Four's results also shows a tendency to spin stories in ways that do not match the facts. Headlines at times overstated the movie's success, describing it as a box office winner, despite the steep declines in revenue. This demonstrates a reluctance to fully admit the scale of the problems. Oh wow, breaking news. The mainstream media has a left-leaning bias. Again, I am shocked. I can't believe the paid shills don't want to lose access. Ultimately, the corporate media's progression through these stages in response to Fantastic Four's box office performance points to larger issues in the entertainment industry. It calls for a serious reconsideration of how Hollywood listens to and serves its audience. Without a more honest assessment of what viewers want and clearer strategies to deliver it, studios risk repeating the same mistakes and continuing to lose ground. This film's journey is a reminder that big budgets and well-known characters alone cannot guarantee success at the box office. There's a whole lot I could say about that, but I honestly think I'll make another video, because going through all of that crap like superhero fatigue and the disconnect between Hollywood and the audience, this video's already long enough. So keep an eye out for that. That'll come in the future, I'm sure. Anyway, I had a lot of fun with this video. Did you have fun? I liked it. But that's all I have for you today. My name's Dean James, your mate in comics from the land down under. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.